Hero cars. The poster cars that we millennials always cherished having behind our doors or walls. The Golf GTI has been a very special car for me and people in my peer group as well. We used to play it as our hero car in the Need for Speed, Carbon, and other franchisee games. We've lived through the dreams. And somehow, once I turned 34, I got the privilege of living with one. And this video is about just that, the Golf GTI Mark 8.5.
Now, the Golf GTI is one car you absolutely cannot hate. It's like the Toyota Land Cruiser. No matter how much it gets old in terms of its packaging and tech, it still has everyone loving it. It is expensive to buy, but it gives you all the pleasures of a nice, reliable, tank-like built SUV. And it's a similar situation with this Golf GTI as well. It's a sports car, a super hatch, and a very, very practical car for everyday use. Now, I can't emphasize more about this 2-liter E8 888 turbocharged petrol motor that's fitted to the Golf GTI and puts out a power output of 265 bhp. This engine, besides the B48 that's fitted to the Mini Cooper S, this engine does duty on a lot of cars. The last generation Audi TT, the Audi A4, the Audi A6, the Q5, and every other practical car that you can think of, but just tuned in a way that it really makes up for its performance prowess. Now, I'm on the highway. I'm currently driving in eco mode. The fuel management system is making sure that there is least amount of fuel used when I'm cruising on the highway. When I'm going down the hill, the car coasts itself, which is not a feature which is too different from what you get in B48s, but it's a wow factor indeed. I have covered about 20 kilometers in the last 15 minutes, cruising at 80 kilometers an hour on this UER highway, and that is the speed limit of this highway right now. And I'm achieving about 20 kilometers to the liter with absolute ease. It's just such an effortless car. My climate control is currently functioning at 21 degrees Celsius. My steering is heated at level 1. And it feels so good. It just feels so much comfortable doing this long distance trip. Now, another factor about the Golf GTI is that the seats are extremely comfortable. Volkswagen made sure that it made more logic giving fabric seats, which again are quintessentially GTI with the checkered pattern. But these are extremely comfortable seats. An added benefit of them having seat heaters, which makes my trips during cold winter mornings even more pleasurable. And that's a win-win situation as I am driving on this highway.
Now, not always are you driving like an absolute hooligan. You would want to be relaxed 90% of the time behind the wheel to make the best out of the car. The Golf GTI rewards you in heaps and bounds, especially on the highway.
Now, driving a Golf GTI on Indian roads is a thing in itself. It's such a beautiful activity, to be honest. It feels special. There are certain things in this car which remind you of how a well-engineered German performance hatchback can make your life easy. It's got all the bells and whistles that you require on a daily basis, especially through the winters that we currently are facing. And it's just profoundly beautiful to drive. The suspension is great. The steering input, although stiff, feels very, very enthusiastic. And you've got a good amount of real estate over these screens for all the information that you require. Although this central information display is quite big, but it does not eat into your visual space of the road. Another thing which is worth noting about the Golf GTI as a performance hatch is that its noise insulation is pretty good. Now, we are running on very thin profile tires, and the road that we're driving on has a very high friction coefficient, perhaps one of the highest that there could be on national highways. And even at 80-85 kilometers an hour, I'm barely able to hear any sort of noise filtering into the cabin except for the road noise that's getting in above 100 kilometers an hour. But otherwise, it's a very comfortable, nicely damped cabin, and the air conditioning is working fairly good as well. So we have exited UER now. From there, we'll be joining the national highway towards Chandigarh, but we'll halt over at Murthal for a quick spot of brunch. The road has been seemingly fine, but now is when it gets challenging because there are tons of trucks. The truck traffic has opened up, and yeah, we're still running at 19.8 kilometers to the liter, which is still respectable for a Golf GTI. Over 46 kilometers of driving. That is absolutely fantastic.
Now, don't take me wrong, cars like the Volkswagen Golf GTI are not built or purchased for the intent of getting great fuel economy. But I knew this E888 motor is such a practical thing to have under the bonnet that I can drive it as a daily driver every single day. This car I can use for all my commutes around the city or on the highway and not complain at all. It is just that good.
So we've just exited the highway and entered the bylane to enter into Gulshan Dhaba. And in the last 71 kilometers, we've achieved a fuel economy figure of 19.2 kilometers to the liter, which is absolutely astonishing. In a Golf GTI. Now that is something to talk about. And it's just so brilliant. I'm back to my OG food spot, that is Gulshan Dhaba, and I'm about to devour into some nice breakfast.
Now, the Golf GTI is like a well done tandoori parantha. You cannot make it very complicated or add masalas to make it richer. You would just ruin it. This car is just perfection, as good as Gulshan Dhaba's paranthas.
Now, since everyone keeps on asking why do I keep coming to Gulshan Dhaba, what sort of a collaboration do I have with them, and why don't I go to Sukhdev Dhaba, which almost every tourist goes to, is because I am from Murthal. Like, my ancestral crib is Murthal, and we know how paranthas are supposed to be made, and Gulshan does it best. So it's a huge shout out for Gulshan Dhaba and its owner Abhishek for keeping the quality intact and making me come here more often, especially with some nice cars like the Golf GTI that we have right now. So yeah, I'm done with the breakfast. Let's head back. Perhaps make a short visit to the village, and then we'll go back home. That's how we're going to spend the last day of the year.
Now, taking the Golf GTI to my village was nothing short of special. When I was a child, my grandmother used to bless me with all the dream cars that I've had. And
that's what I'm getting stuck behind. A bunch of buffaloes. They're blocking the way, reminding me of daily traffic. But this is rural traffic, my friend. One bull power each. One buffalo power. Yeah, that's one buffalo power.
bringing it here felt very, very nostalgic. The car from Need for Speed was alive. It was out there near the lake where I spent a long time with my grandfather looking at the buffaloes. This thing and this drive is pure special.